We are live on Facebook.
Awesome.
And we're going to go live on Instagram. Hold on. Here we
Is that
go.
you?
Yes.
Yep.
There we go. I've sent my request. Oh, Luann's here. Hey, Lou.
Oh, Luann. Hello. Oh, my goodness. Okay.
All righty.
Yeah.
I'm about to pop in. Here I am.
Go for it.
Hello,
right.
hello.
Awesome.
Hello, everybody.
Wait. All right. Hello. How are you? Oh, wait. Now I have to go live. Hang on just one sec.
Now you have to join us.
Yep. Hold on. I'm just trying to get this presentation done. And lower the volume.
Yep, there we go.
Because that's always fun. All right, so the volume is lowered and the presentation is there. And
now you just have to join in so we can see your lovely face on Instagram.
Yep, I hear you. Okie doke. Give me a second. Why is it not letting me? Oh, there it is. Request to join. Send request. Sounds good. Okay, I requested, and now I just need to accept me over here. Oh, no, oh, yep, that's me. All right, and any second now, I'm going to be right there on Instagram. Here I am. Yay, technology works. We always get so amazed when it does work, don't we?
Yes, it does.
Well, welcome everybody. It does take us a couple of minutes to kind of get set up, and it's all because just that's the way Instagram works. We have to do all sorts of contraptions here to make sure that we have 3 screens. We give this to you every week, but it still takes us a couple of minutes to do so. But we're always happy to be here with you every Friday at 12 noon for WTF. Yes, indeed. Okay. So today's episode is actually, again, one of our favorites every month. As you know, in general, we cover all topics window treatments, but every month we make sure to have a designer highlight. And today is yet another designer highlight episode. So without further ado, Kim, you're up.
Perfect. Now for this week's episode, I decided I was going to pick designers that have been featured on Luann's podcast because, as we all know, this whole idea of WTF Live has stemmed from Vita and Luann's audio version of this on the podcast, on the Well Designed Business podcast. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to go down memory lane and pick out a couple of guests that Luann's had on. Now, Megan has been on twice. She has been episode number, give me 1 second, I have that here. She has been episode number 455 and 677. She was actually just on recently. And Megan is based out of Charleston, South Carolina. She started in the design field by just simply posting her her appreciation of coastal interiors and things like that. And when she started posting that on social media, the world started watching and listening. And what I loved about listening to Megan's episode was she was talking about she was working in the corporate world for 12 years and really decided to make her hobby her passion. So from all the love that she was getting on social media and figuring out that she really could turn this into a business. She's a #smart lady, and hearing how her dad helped her draft her contract and things of that nature. She was really, her design contracts and whatnot, she was really able to turn this passion into a business. And that's really what it's all about. Because Luann says it all the time that, this is not a hobby. We're all here,
100%.
It could start off as a hobby, which it often does a lot of times. And we're going to talk about another designer that I'm going to highlight further in the episode. But, it's really inspirational to me when you can turn something that you have a passion for into a really viable business. And I was fortunate enough to meet Megan at High Point a couple years ago. Yeah, at the fall market. And she had 2 employees, and now her business has really grown. So if you want to hear more about Megan Molten and her business
endeavors,
yes, head on over to the podcast episode 455 and 677. So today I wanted to highlight a nursery. So to bring it back to an episode that Vita and I did a couple weeks ago, Kids Spaces, I thought this was really appropriate to highlight this space of Megan's to show this really cool baby's room. And it's something that's super sophisticated. And that's one of the things that we were discussing during our episode was the fact that kids' rooms and nurseries now they're a little bit more in the mature realm. It's not always like the cartoon things. I remember growing up in the 80s and my nursery was yellow with you had the border at the top with the animals on parade.
Oh my gosh, I remember the borders.
Yeah, it's like my mother would put up the borders, and like when I moved to my bigger room, then it was like some other kid border and whatnot. But now, what Megan designed here is a room that this child could really grow into.
As a matter of fact, when you said nursery, I was surprised. And I looked at this presentation. Yeah. I'm like, nursery, like where? What's nursery about it? And then I zoomed in on the crib there. But short of the crib, this could be any other bedroom, den, guest room, could be anything.
You have, and what I liked is the whole layered look, of course, because for a baby's room, we want the room darkening, try to making it as dark as possible. So you have the texture of the woven woods there in the kind of natural walnut or pecan kind of color. And then you have the sophisticated of just like the soft stationary panels in the white installed on a gold French return rod. Because as we know, French return rods are all the rage right now, especially in the gold and brass family. So I just thought this was to kind of tie back in previous episodes that this was a really good example of that.
Mm-hmm. It's beautiful. I think she did a gorgeous job. Yes. Love the woven woods there. Love the neutral look. And, you take out the crib and it could be any other room in the house.
Exactly.
Okay, my next slide here is of a firm called Benavides Design House. And it is a husband and wife team, Kristen and Oscar. They're located in South Jersey, in Medford, New Jersey. And full disclosure, we do not do window treatments for them currently, but this is a firm that I have been friends with on Instagram right here. And also, I've been really admiring their work for several reasons. Number one is just their background and the way they approach every project. So Kristen is actually an NCIDQ designer. So this is the highest level of certification in the design industry. And you don't have to be certified necessarily to be a good designer, but I also know what it takes to get certified and all the tests that you have to pass and all the studying that it takes. And also as someone who has multiple degrees, I know the type of sacrifice that it takes when everybody else is down the shore or going to concerts or just playing around and watching Netflix. You're at your book and you're grinding it every night trying to get your stuff done. So just from that perspective, I really respect those that do decide to pursue it. But again, full disclosure, I personally don't think that it's necessary to do that in order to be a good designer. Anyway, so so this firm brings really amazing experience to the way they do business because of their background. So Kristen started working as in the interior design firm in Palm Beach, Florida, which is where she ultimately met Oscar and they got married and then ultimately moved to Medford. And Oscar Benavides, he's actually originally from Colombia, where he graduated with an architecture degree and then pursued further education in Spain. So his experience is internationally rooted. And as someone who's also from Europe, and you as well, Kim, with your international background, I think we both can appreciate people who bring that experience to their work. Again, do you have to? Absolutely not. You can be the most brilliant and wonderful designer if you don't have that. But if you do, then it makes you what makes you unique, which is what makes this couple really unique. So they met in Palm Beach, Florida, worked together, married, moved up here to New Jersey, and in 2008 started their own company. So between their international background, between their architecture as well as an interior design approach, they really have quite remarkable total approach to their work and the way they work with the clients, their meticulousness to detail, their communication. They can create a full set of construction plans and hand it off to the client so the client can bid the project out and have an apples to apples comparison with them, of course, trying to guide them through the whole process. So just from the educational and experiential approach, I really respect this firm. And then from the type of product and result that they produce, here's one of their projects.
Nice.
Again, we did not do it, but I can really, from the sidelines, respect and admire what they have done. These are classical lines, classical pieces of furniture, and classical colors as well. So paying attention, as we usually do, came to window treatments. Of course, I'm looking at a pair of draperies on, there's actually two windows flanking the bed. The picture, you probably can only see one, maybe a Facebook, you can see the second one. Very traditional classical approach. You have the rod at the top, you have a pair of drapes kind of framing the window. So they are clearly functional because they're full, so they close on the window. The fact that they brought pattern up to the window, you and I talk about it all the time. It's so much easier to just throw up a solid color, maybe with a band, maybe not, but to bring any kind of pattern onto the window definitely takes some risk, and therefore the reward, because I think this room looks beautiful, serene, just really, really nice and elegant, sophisticated, which is really the trademark of this duo. So
very nice.
I wanted to make sure that I highlighted them for all of these qualities.
Yeah, and I like, it's almost like a nod to like a more traditional type of aesthetic, where it's kind of nice to see, and it's hard to tell in the picture. Oh no, it is a metal pole. I thought for a second, I got really excited and thought it was a wood pole, but no.
I think it is wood.
Is it
actually.
Wood? It looks like, I don't know, in the picture.
It's hard to tell, and I didn't do it, so I can't tell for sure. But between the four-poster bed and a lot of, and some of the other wood elements, specifically in the side tables, I wouldn't be surprised if these were, you're maybe not totally hunky, big rods up there, but like an elegant wood pole with wood rings. I will send them this video, and hopefully they can confirm which one it is.
So stay tuned.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, next up we have Rachel Moriarty of Rachel Moriarty Interiors. She is located out in California, and Rachel has been featured on the podcast twice. She was episode 214 and episode 55. Also, for those of you who are not aware, but Rachel is one of the instructors for next round of Luann University. So she's teaching visibility for creatives. So I forgot about that. So yeah, so if you want to take Rachel's class, Rachel is an award-winning designer. She's a best-selling author, a style expert, and most importantly, as you can tell,
Luann says yes.
Full disclosure, this was not planned. Luann didn't know that I was doing this. So, okay. So what's really cool about Rachel is, as you can see from her picture here, is that she is a lover of patterns and color. She calls herself the patternista. She is the ultimate colorful character. If you follow her on social media, you can definitely see that, and you definitely get that vibe off of her Instagram page and her website. She's always with her signature glasses, her headscarf and whatnot sometimes. And then you can see, and she has her eclectic jewelry. She brings in her cultural roots into her design. So she has a back, she's part Mexican, Native American, and Filipina. And that is part of what she brings into her design, the diversity to her design. And she's not afraid to use all of that in the color and textures and whatnot that she brings to it. So a couple episodes back, if you could bring on the slide that I want to show, perfect. Vita and I talked about designing with patterns and really going for colorful patterns and whatnot. And this is what you see here in these colorful Roman shades. It's kind of hard to tell in the picture, but I'll just give you a little bit of background. This was for one of her clients that the home was being featured in San Diego Home. And this particular photograph was also the cover of the Visions magazine. So that's the interior.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I didn't realize. Wow. Yes. I have to go back. I keep all my magazines.
Yes.
So I'll have to pull this one out.
This was a cover. I don't sorry, my bad. I don't remember the year, but yeah, this was the cover of the magazine. And what you can't tell from the picture here is that it is the walls are green and the frame around the moldings are black. Mm-hmm. So you're really getting this saturation of color, and the print has it's a white background with a lot of different colors. You have the greens, you have the pinks and whatnot, and this is just a nod to don't be afraid to use a pattern, don't be afraid to really go for it with color. And this is what I love about Rachel, is that she really takes these kinds of risks and she really goes for it with her design, and she brings her personality. It's almost like it just pours right off of her.
I know, and it just goes out of her pores
right onto her design. And that's what I love. I love being, when you do take those design risks. I know, and it can be scary because you are dealing with your client's budget, and to really have them go down that path with you, it's a risk. And it's definitely, she definitely takes that risk, and it definitely pays off.
What I really love about this picture and this project, and Rachel specifically, and in general, I think it can be applicable to other designers, is that try to not be afraid to stand in your own truth.
Yeah.
And to have a firm set of beliefs, know what you believe, and stand for that and defend it, right? So clearly Rachel is the lover of color and the lover of pattern, and it exudes out of her, pours out of her. She's not afraid to do it. But let's say there's a designer listening to us who, this is not for her. This is definitely not everybody's cup of tea. But you have a different value system. Maybe you like more neutrals. Maybe you like more prints. Maybe you like combining crazy things together. There's a certain element of the design that you stand for. There's certain beliefs that you have, right? And so to not be afraid to present it to the client and to feel strongly to defend it. I mean, that's, I think, what Kim and I are trying to advocate for here. Will every customer go for it?
No.
Of course not, right? But we also know, because we are exposed to, so many designers, and we can tell you that there's some designers that are very strong and they stand in their space, and there's some that maybe not so much, that kind of go along with whatever the customer wants and just kind of acquiesce to whichever way the wind blows, in a way.
Yeah, and that's what I always say. Like, I went to school for interior design, and in my mind, I was going to work for a firm, and that's where I was going to be. I kind of fell into window treatments by accident 13 years ago, and here I am 13 years later. And what I love about it is, one of the points that you were making there, Vita, is that there's so many different designers with so many different aesthetics, and we really get exposed to a lot of different designs out there. And the first 3 slides that we've showed you are all completely different. You have that beachy kind of vibe, the more traditional. Then you have here this whole punch of color. So that's the great part, I think, for me working in the window treatment industry, is that you really get exposed, and you're lucky enough to work with all this, different levels of design.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, speaking of somebody who really knows how to stand in her space, Michele Plachter, interior designer, designs. This is a firm out of Philadelphia, Center City, Philadelphia, and I am privileged to work with this firm. So there are certain designs where I say full disclosure, I don't do their window treatments, or sometimes don't even know them personally, but I want to highlight them. Now, here's a designer who I know personally. I do the work for her. it just the whole thing, the whole 9 yards. She knows what she likes. She defends her views in front of the customers. You can see it in her product. Again, not every designer, not every client goes for everything the designers present, but that we can control. What we can is the presentation and some of the direction that we can give to our clients. And so Michele leads a boutique firm of luxurious design. She services that high-end luxury clientele in both residential and commercial. And lately she's been traveling all over the East Coast. I keep seeing you, Michele, in Florida. So hopefully you have some amazing projects there. And it's just, it's been a pleasure to work with her. We've been doing business together we've been supporting her for about maybe a year to a year and a half or so. Our relationship started just before COVID and continued very nicely all through COVID. So what's amazing about Michele is that the incredible design, and the one picture that you will see shortly, and you can certainly check her out on her website and Instagram, is that she's self-taught. She's actually a corporate dropout, much like myself. She had, prior to interior design, she had a successful career for some very well-known brands in HR, marketing, and sales. And then through just various experiences, just the way life leads us, it led her to interior design and now a career in interior design. But another interesting tidbit about Michele is that prior to all of that, or maybe actually was all throughout, I don't know, I should ask her, is that she is an incredible singer. I mean, she has the voice of velvet, I swear. It's just so beautiful. And I will never forget, Kim, it was just as COVID hit. It was late March, early April of 2020, when all of us were scared of our pants. She sent out this beautiful message to all of her clients, friends, family, as well as trades. So it's important to me that she didn't forget her trades, because we are all the people that support and make designers look like heroes, which we're happy to do, but it's also very nice to be appreciated and recognized for it.
Definitely.
So she sent out this beautiful message, just, I guess the whole point was, we're all in the same boat. We're here with you. You're here with us. And here's a little gift from us. So she had her team. She has a team of 3 people. She had her team put together Spotify lists, like playlists for all of us to listen to. But the most amazing gift is she recorded a song that she just sang for us. I believe it was a cappella. And it was just, when I first got it and listened to it, it brought tears to my eyes. And it just made you realize that even though those were very scary times, and even if not through COVID, oftentimes we work alone, but know that there's somebody else out there who is a friend, who is a colleague, who is a peer, and who gave you a gift like that. It's not a gift. I mean, sure, we get flowers and gift cards and all those things, and, we welcome them all. Yes, whatever. We're not. That's all good.
No,
but to get a personal gift like that to all her people personally from her in such an intimate way was very, very special. So I've mentioned it on Luann's podcast. I think I tell this story to anybody who would listen, and here I am telling it again. It just made such an incredible impact.
Well, Michele is here on Instagram. Yeah.
Oh, yes. She is?
Yes. She made a comment. She said, "Ha ha, you're making me blush."
Oh, Michele, I had no idea. Hi.
Isn't that so funny when they pop in?
Wrapped up in my story. Oh, gosh.
Well, Michele, now we're going to look at your beautiful
I know. Oh, no, I'm blushing too, actually. Anyway, so here's a project. Now, this project we did not do for her. Okay. I just pulled a different picture that she's done for a client that wasn't one of ours. However, the fabric in those draperies, there's horizontal stripes. That's a fabric. If not this specific one, Michele, it's very similar on a project that we did recently. As a matter of fact, the project is still kind of trickling in and sort of it's wrapping up. As a matter of fact, our installer is on site today as we speak, finishing, not quite finishing, but wrapping up some of the elements of that project. But so it's this particular fabric that caught my eye because, again, I know how tricky it was to line up those stripes correctly. So another thing is Michele is very loyal to her trades too. So So that's just something that I really respect. And it's just this whole dining room, I think, speaks for itself. This is quintessential Michele, combining different patterns and different colors and having that luxurious feel that just like oozing out of every wall, nook and cranny in the wall, the drape, the rug, the chair, the table setting, the chandelier. I mean, this is just exactly what Michele is incredible at in every single room that she does. And I've seen a lot personally, so I can say that.
Well, kudos to you,
Michele, super happy to work with you. And thank you for joining us today.
It's always fun when the designers randomly will pop in. Like that's happened to us a couple times before. And it's even designers that we don't even do work with. And we're like, oh my God, you're here.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. This next design team that I want to highlight is Leclair Décor. They are out of Ottawa, Canada. And they have also been guests. Well, Melissa, the wife, has been a guest on the podcast. It was episode number, 620. And I really resonated with this episode, and I'll get into that in a second. But Melissa and her husband, Sasha, started this firm in 2011. And again, just like Megan, it kind of started as like a little bit of a side hustle. They were working on remodeling their home. And then as a result of that, family members and friends were like, oh my God, this is so great. Can you help me with this project? Can you help me do this? Can you help me do that? And then it kind of snowballed into this full service interior, residential interior design firm. They work on new builds and remodels. And I believe from the podcast episode, they have about 45 employees. So when you go when you go from,
holy moly.
And Luann, if you're here, either on Facebook or Instagram, correct me if I'm wrong, but I vaguely remember that from the episode. And it's just so impressive where you can start something that it's like, here's an idea, we're buying a home, we are going to remodel it, and it just starts off as a project, and then boom, it grows into this entire big empire. And they didn't stop there. And so they went from not only having their residential firm, then they started an online shop where clients, where people could, And then they started in 2017 a brick and mortar store called the LD Shop. And since then, in 2019, they expanded their shop into just under 10,000 square feet. So you could only imagine the operation. Yes, Luann is saying these are two incredible business people, and their business is still growing. So to me, the whole thing of starting a side hustle, like Megan has done, and Megan had, in the previous slide, and not only that, but I think when you get to work with your significant other or your spouse, that it's not for everybody. So that whole relationship of being able to do that, and I don't know, like I have mentioned Carlos a couple of times here on WTF Live, and he is also an installer here at WindowWorks. So I have the pleasure of working with my significant other, and we've been working together now for about 12 years.
And of course, Luann and Vinny.
Yes, and Luann and Vinny. So it does take a special kind of personality. A lot of people don't get it. They're like, how does that work? You guys are with each other. But it definitely, like, I don't know anything different. And to me, it's a really special relationship. So when I see other, husband and wife significant teams, it's a pleasure. Yes, it's always a pleasure, right, Luann?
Oh, a pleasure.
No, but
roses and unicorns 24/7.
Yeah, I will say that, like when Carlos got injured last summer and he wasn't here at WindowWorks for about 5 months, it was a little weird. Like the first couple of weeks, him not being here, I was like, well, this is different. I don't really know how to be here without him, kind of thing. So I just feel like when you see a husband and wife team grow something from a side hustle to this humongous empire, you just have to give kudos to them because it's really something that is super significant. So if you want to hear how they did it, please head over to the podcast episode 620. You will not be disappointed.
Oh my gosh, I totally have to listen to it because it's just incredible to have that kind of square footage and that many people. I mean, we have 14 here, so
I can't even imagine like 45. Like, that's next level.
Amazing. Exactly. Next level.
So the project that I wanted to feature for them, again, to tie it back to another episode that Vita and I have done, is on horizontal stripes. So just like you had showed before.
With Michele, yeah.
With Michele, yeah. So that's why I was like, oh, we're both doing horizontal stripes. Just to show another way to really add a design element, because we're so used to stripes being vertical and up and down. And I always love it when you can just take something that from its traditional form and kind of use it in a different composition. So I love when we have the ability to use a horizontal stripe. Now it is a little difficult trying to seam match a horizontal stripe. So full disclosure, since we did not do this work, it does look like it's a lightweight shear. So it could be wide width goods. So it could be seamless goods. So it could be a little bit easier in terms of, obviously there's no seams that you have to worry about. But that's one of the only, it's one of the cons of doing a horizontal stripe, is making sure all those stripes match up, especially with something that's this small of a pinstripe type of thing. At least when it's a wider stripe, it's a little easier, but still hard. But yeah,
super hard. Yeah. Trust me, I've laid it out on the table. I know, because
one
fabrics move.
Woo! Yeah. Especially if it's what Billy calls like a slinky fabric, something that as soon as you hit with a little steam, it grows a little bit. So just getting that on the table to really stay in place. And then the minute you sew it, it can just 1/8 of an inch shift can totally,
because it travels, 1/8 of an inch up the top. By the time it travels to the bottom, it can be
an inch,
half an inch. Yeah.
So I've had that happen before, or the stripe came in on the bias. So I just love when a horizontal stripe can be done successfully. And we have done an entire episode on window treatments with horizontal stripes. So I just kind of wanted to highlight this. And if you want to go watch that episode, I don't know which episode of that it's ours, but yeah.
We'll have to look that up.
Yeah. I know what episode Luann's podcasts are, but not ours.
Okay, this next designer is one of my features. We do not currently do any window treatments for her, but Liz and I are great buddies on Instagram. So this is Liz Walton Homes. She is a Philadelphia-based designer, and by Philadelphia I mean more like mainline-based designer. And she does work actually all over. She's had projects up north, down south to Florida, the Carolinas, I think even Nashville, but her primary clientele comes from the main line, which is a big suburb just west of Philadelphia. And Liz is primarily a kitchen and bath designer. That's what she kind of positions and touts herself as. She's a graduate of Drexel University, which is a near and dear to my heart because my husband is a Drexel grad, his sister's a Drexel grad, pretty much all of our friends are Drexel grads. It's right here in Philly. It's an awesome school, just incredibly fantastic school with a great co-op program, something that a lot of schools don't have. So somehow my son has it in his head that he's going to Drexel.
Oh, good.
So he's got 6 more years, but we'll see. So anyway, Drexel interior design grad, got certified through NKBA, and just does amazing work. And she's been in business since 2004. And because of her approach to this, she's really honed in on how she designs kitchens and baths, her whole blueprint, I guess. Well, the way she does it, methodology, method is what I'm trying to say. She was really able to put it into a package, actually, in a way. And now she teaches that to other interior designers. She calls it the Interior Design Blueprint. So, and it's a class or a series of classes that she, like I said, teaches to other interior designers who want to become more versed in kitchen and bath design. Oh. So actually on Instagram, you can find her under Liz Walton Home, as well as under Interior Design Blueprint. And Liz, in general, she's a lovely, lovely person who is kind and generous, very friendly, very open to relationships and networking, which I personally really appreciate and admire. This is how I've built my business. I left corporate. I knew nobody in the industry. I didn't know what I was doing. And I just started this business and grew it primarily on forging relationships and going up to people, extending my hand, saying, hello, I'm Vita, let's be friends, essentially, or, colleagues or work friends, and how can we help and support each other? And she's the kind of person who is very receptive and welcoming of that, and she employs very similar type of strategies as well. So for those, as well as many other reasons, I really admire, respect, and appreciate Liz. She was very supportive when we had the fire. We got a floral arrangement from her, we got a card, I felt very, very supported by her and her team, just of our own little misfortune here. Just a little one.
Oh, nice.
So I love this picture because it not only shows the window treatment, which is what Kim and I always highlight, but it shows it through the prism of kitchen cabinet, right? Mm-hmm. So it's a lovely balance. That's something that we see a lot nowadays. I think a lot of the stuff that we see lately is very streamlined and straight. And I love myself. Well, me, Kim, I'm totally advocating for not the total goopy, froopy stuff, but I love myself a nice curve, and this is a beautiful mock London valance. So it's got inside pleats, it's got little fishtails, not too much, but just perfect for this type of kitchen.
Yeah. No, what I love about it is the whole breakfast eating area there. I always talk about when you're doing window treatments in something like this. This is this is what you want bring your eye to. You want your client's eye to go there. So that's, to me, you're really just, the window treatments just kind of are the backdrop of this beautiful kitchen and landscape that she's developed. And it just kind of, you see right through it. And it's probably one of the first things you see when you walk through that kitchen. So great job.
And just the color scheme of it and how inviting it is, 100%. And to answer Luann's comment there, you're absolutely right. Maria Viola is a teacher in Drexel University. I actually know Maria personally. Don't do any window work for her, but we are both ASID colleagues. I belong to ASID. She used to be the president of our chapter. So back when we had in-person events, we used to run into each other all the time. And I actually listened to that episode of yours, Luann, and Maria, and I just really admire what Maria has done there as a teacher. All right. That covers our designer spotlight there.
All righty, everyone. Well, before we let you go, we have a couple of free goodies. On the WindowWorks website, our fabulous leader, Luann, has written a book. So if you're new to window treatments, head on over to WindowWorks and get your copy of Architectural Digest is Incoming, 10 Things You Need to Know About Custom Window Treatments. It's really like Window Treatment 101. So if you just bought a home or are new to the design game and really want to get your learning on, head on over to the WindowWorks website and download your copy.
And for our part, Vitalia Inc. has a free gift for you as well. You can grab it at vitaliainc.com, and it is a free curated lookbook filled with inspiration and education. Lots of pictures there, some excerpts of my presentations, some technical terminology, so really full of great stuff that you can get educated and inspired on as far as window treatments are concerned.
Very good. And to keep up with everything Miss Luann is doing, and to listen to the audio version of A Well-Designed Business, of the WTF audio version, go to Well-Designed Business Podcast. And to get all the information about Luann University, and if you want to take Rachel's course, Luann, you're here. Is it luannu.com? What is the website?
You can get on luannigera.com, and I think even Luann University, but Luann Nigera will take you to the university link as well.
And then if you just hit the events and coaching tab, it's going to be right there on the left-hand side.
And Luann and I did a great episode. It dropped last Friday, which would have been June 11th. So if you guys are not listening to this in real time, so scroll back to June 11th episode. It was a Window Treatment Friday series. And we talked about handling the incredible volume of business that we're all experiencing now during the post-COVID days. So rewind a year ago when we were all like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? We were, heart palpitations every day. Now a year later, it's still heart palpitations, but
for a different reason.
for different reasons, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's a great episode. We'll give you some real tips on how to handle the volume, how to handle it in terms of actions, and also how to handle it in terms of your own mindset, what to do, how to help your team, and how to really lead through it and hopefully see it better on the other side.
Yeah, and it was episode 676.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. Alrighty. Okay, and to keep up with all things WindowWorks, and if you are an interior designer or a regular customer who's just watching the live here on either Instagram or on Facebook, we would be happy to help you with your next window treatment or awning project. We take all the guesswork out for you. We deal with all the, like I say, the nudgy details on where to hang the rod, how wide should we make the Roman, or where the best place to place your awning. You start with us from start to finish, and we would love to help you with your next project.
And if you are in the greater Philadelphia area, Vitalia Inc. is your partner, especially if you're an interior designer. This is who we partner with exclusively. We are your one-stop, your go-to resource, your concierge level, white glove service, exclusively for interior designers ready to fly first class in the world of window treatment. So Philadelphia, Main Line, Jersey Shore, Bucks County, Montgomery County, we are here to support you and to have your back and to make you look like heroes to your clients.
Good. Alrighty, everyone. Well, that is this week's episode. Thank you so much for joining us. Next week, I will be doing a solo episode. We're going to be talking about awnings. Vita and her family are going on a fabulous, well-deserved beach vacation. So let's all be a little jelly belly
so
for Vita. So I'll be here talking about our latest awning installs, and we have some really cool things that we have been up to the past couple of weeks. So I'm really excited to feature them next Friday at 12 o'clock.
I will miss you dearly, but I will be so happy being on the beach.
It is quite all right, girlfriend.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. And every Friday, Kim and I are here for you, 12 o'clock noon on Instagram, on Facebook. We're here live, giving you education, inspiration, geeking out on all things window treatments. Because, Kim, if it's Friday,
it's WTF Live.
All right, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Bye.